All right. What's going on? I'm Kevan Kenney. Welcome to Billboard Live. We have a very special guest to my side. Dua Lipa is here.
Hi.
Fresh off the Today Show stage, and now you're going to do a couple songs for us. How nice of you.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Awesome. Who's single, by the way? I just have to mention this before we get going.
Who
Just
the fuck said I'm single? I'm sorry.
You're single. You're single, hotter than hell. You got to let me finish.
Whoa,
You got to let me finish. Hotter than hell. Just passed 1 million. I'm trying to congratulate you over here. Oh my gosh. What a kickoff to. We're live. What a kickoff to Billboard Live.
What? Anyway, I'm also bright red and really embarrassed.
There you go.
And also jet lagged. So.
There you go. Blame it. It's always jet lagged. All right. So you got 3 songs for us, and then we're going to hang out for a little bit. So if anybody wants to pose any questions in the comments, we're going to have a quick Q&A, talk about these songs and more. So I don't want to take any more time. Without further ado, take it away.
Great.
One more time. How great was that?
Thank
Now
you.
that was Blow Your Mind.
Yeah.
Parentheses. Mwah.
Yeah. You gotta do it better.
How do you do it?
Mwah.
Mwah.
Yeah, that was good.
That was bad. Now I had to ask. At what point
good.
of the writing process? Thank you. Did that come about? Because it's one of my favorite parts of the song. If I'm going to be totally honest, is the little mwah.
Thank you.
So, like, how does that? Is that just the thing that happens in the studio? Is that written down for you?
It was totally accidental. We were just kind of making stuff up, and the mwah it was just something that just happened, and we just decided to keep it and decided to make it part of the song.
Right on.
So yeah.
That's awesome. Now that song, Blow Your Mind, is number 26 right now on U.S. pop radio. Now round of applause for that really quick because that's awesome. It's hard to do. It's not easy to do. But what I love about you is that I'm reading these facts about you. I'm studying up, I'm going to talk to you today. And the influences for the artist with the number 26 song on pop radio here, the first 2 I read are Tupac and Biggie. How does that happen? How do you get the number 26 song on U.S. pop radio, and that's where your sort of influences come from? I think that's awesome.
I've always been I've always loved pop music, but then when I moved to Kosovo at the age of 11, people listened to hip hop a lot over there, and I listened to like Tupac and Biggie, but my favorite hip hop artists are like J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar, and I'm obsessed.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I do love him, and I went to see J. Cole at one of his like early shows in London at Coco, and I got to play at that venue in October, and that was so crazy for me to go and see some of my favorite artists perform there and then have the opportunity to do that. So yeah, love J. Cole because I just went off on a tangent, but yeah.
Awesome. Now you talked about London. I want to talk about London. So you moved, was it 13 or 11 you moved back home?
I moved at 11. I moved to Kosovo.
Okay.
And then at 15, I
you were
decided
like,
to.
no way, I'm going back to London.
Well, I wanted to do music, and I didn't feel like I could do it on. I didn't feel like I could do it from Kosovo. I didn't feel like I could try and do something on a more global scale. I didn't feel like I'd have the opportunity to be heard. So I decided to move back to London and promised my parents I'd go to school at the same time. I was posting covers online. I was going to theatre school on Saturdays, and I was just trying to just get the word out there that I was singing.
Yeah. And you were just living with friends at that time? Like, that had to be kind of like a scary time, right?
Yeah, well, I managed to persuade my parents to let me live in London at 15 on my own with a girl that was also moving from Kosovo, but she was older than me. She was doing like her master's in London, and my parents knew her parents and knew her, and they were like, oh, it's going to be okay. But she was like in her own little planet with like her boyfriend and her studies. So for me, I was just like having parties, which was great. But
I want to talk about those parties a little bit, about at least your early days in London, because one of the first songs that you talk about, you really felt confident in, that was born out of those early days in London, is the song that is now a 1 million copy seller. That's Hotter Than Hell. What does that song mean to you now, knowing 1 million people have gone out, they've bought in that record, and you wrote it, when not when you had nothing, but you had to be a little unsure right back in the day in London.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote it before I even got signed.
That's crazy.
So I was just in the studio, and I wrote this song about a really like chaotic and like bad relationship I was in, and someone that made me feel like I wasn't good enough. And when I went into the studio, even though I was really upset about the breakup, I didn't want to seem weak in my songs. I didn't want to come across as like someone who was really upset about the situation. So I wanted to turn the tables and make it seem like I had the upper hand in this relationship, and that I guess now when I sing this song, I don't think about the person, but I think about how that song made me feel, and I guess in a way empowered, and it makes it even more special when I get fans messaging me and being like, oh, that song means so much to me. It makes me feel a certain type of way. And now that fans are involved in everything after me making music just for myself, because it was something that I found therapeutic, and I found it, you know, I was working towards my album. Now there's so many more people involved. So it's, yeah, it's crazy to not just have to think about me and what I want.
Yeah, and let's talk about the album, right? This is crunch time for you. We're what, 2 months out? To February 2017.
Yeah.
The album's coming out. You were telling Al Roker this morning, I saw that you've been working on this album for 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, when you spend that much time with a body at work, what does it become? Like, what does it feel like? You're finally going to put this out in the world. We're all going to hear it, you know, here and obviously the world over.
Yeah,
but it's been yours for 2 years.
It's terrifying. I mean, within those 2 years, I was developing my sound and trying to figure out who I was as an artist, and also learning to open up about my feelings, because it was something so new to me, something that I didn't really know about. And I feel like the album will really show who I am as an artist. I've been describing my sound as dark pop, and people will really understand it when they hear the songs. I recently released a song called Room for Two, just to kind of show fans kind of the diversity in the album, and I think it'll surprise people.
Yeah.
To know what they expect.
I can't wait to hear the album, because you wrote the album in so many different places around the world. I know Sweden, you wrote some songs there, LA, I think here in New York maybe too.
Yeah, and in Toronto as well.
In Toronto, all right. So do you have like a favorite place to write?
Oh, it depends. Like, different places inspire different things. Like, you know, now when I sing, when I think of a song that I wrote, for example, in New York, it reminds me of times that I spent here, and every single song is so special and so different. So I don't know. It's tricky to decide.
Yeah. I want to go back. This is a funny story to me, and I heard you talk about it earlier today on the Today Show. But this teacher of yours, you know, I'm throwing out these numbers: million copies sold of your single. You're number 26 now on U.S. pop radio. But this teacher back in the day told you that you weren't cut out for this, that this wasn't what you should be doing because you couldn't hit the high notes. Is that true?
Yeah. I was in primary school, and I always loved to sing. And my parents told me I could sing, but I would always kind of brush it off because I'd be like, oh, it's just my parents telling me I can sing.
Yeah.
And I decided to audition for the choir, and this was an assembly, so in front of the whole school. And the teacher was like, okay, who wants to audition for the choir? I put my hand up, get up in front of everyone, and he plays this really high note. And he's like, okay, get up and sing it. And nothing came out. It was just air, because I guess I've always had quite like a low, raspy kind of tone. And nothing came out, and everyone laughed, and I got really embarrassed. And the teacher was like, okay, maybe next time. And I never got the chance to go back up again and do it. But yeah. And then I love doing music so much. My parents were then like, oh, why don't you try theater school? So I went there on Saturdays, and my teacher there told me I could sing. So I was like confused. But yeah, I was like 9, and he would make me get up in front of the class and sing in front of everyone. And that helped me build my confidence up, and I really, figured out that I wanted to do this.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't listen to that teacher. I think we're all glad you didn't listen to that teacher.
Yeah. He wasn't very nice, though. Like,
no.
I have like really like vivid memories of him being like a really mean teacher.
Oh, well, maybe he's watching right now, so there you go. Thank you so much for taking the time. 3 songs, they sounded incredible. The album's out in February, so keep an eye out for that. This has been Billboard Live.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, see you guys.